Mr. Van Dyke, could you describe this picture in about one paragraph? Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
That'd be a long paragraph, I think. I played the part of an unsuccessful inventor with 2 children who lives in a windmill.
Dick Van Dyke, born December 13th, 1925, is an iconic American actor, comedian, singer, and dancer whose career has spanned more than 7 decades. Known for his signature blend of physical comedy and heartwarming charm, he first captured audiences' attention with The Dick Van Dyke Show. He expanded his success with memorable film roles, including his beloved performance as Bert in Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Even in his later years, Van Dyke remains an enduring symbol of joy and positivity, continuing to inspire generations of performers and fans. Now he's 98, and he's worried about whether he'll make it to 99. Life and career.
I went into the Air Force. I was going to be a pilot.
Sure you were.
Never got there.
Dick Van Dyke, born Richard Wayne Van Dyke in 1925 in West Plains, Missouri, grew up in a family that shaped his outlook on life. His father, Loren Van Dyke, was a traveling salesman, while his mother, Hazel, was a stenographer. When Dick was young, the family relocated to Danville, Illinois, where he spent his formative years. Danville was a modest Midwestern town that produced a surprising number of notable entertainers, including Donald O'Connor, Gene Hackman, and Bobby Short. Van Dyke attended Danville High School, where his interest in performing began to develop. His charm and natural comedic talent were evident early on, but becoming an entertainer was not his original plan. Initially, Van Dyke was set on becoming a minister, influenced by the strong religious values instilled in him by his upbringing. But during high school, a drama teacher recognized his potential for performing and encouraged him to take part in school plays. It was a turning point for Van Dyke as he discovered a passion for acting, comedy, and entertainment that would steer his life in a new direction. His confidence grew, performing in various school productions, and by the time he graduated in 1944, the stage was beginning to call him more than the pulpit. After high school, he enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Forces with the intention of being a pilot. But due to his slender frame and height, he was not eligible for the pilot program. Instead, he worked as a radio announcer and served in a non-combat role as a medical assistant, providing care to troops stationed domestically. After the war, he returned to civilian life, determined to pursue a career in entertainment. His early years were marked by struggle and uncertainty, typical for aspiring actors. He moved to L.A., but his initial foray into entertainment was filled with setbacks. He worked a series of odd jobs, including selling insurance, washing windows, and even performing as a pantomime at nightclubs. During this time, he also worked in local radio stations, honing his skills as a voice actor and comedian. His early radio work included a job at WISH Radio in Indianapolis, where he hosted a music show and experimented with various comic bits. A major break came in the late 40s when Van Dyke teamed up with a friend, Phil Erickson, to create a comedy duo. They formed an act called The Merry Mutes, a pantomime act that became popular at nightclubs across the U.S. They even managed to get a few television appearances on local programs. The 1950s saw Van Dyke trying his hand at television, where he took on various guest spots and smaller roles. His persistence paid off when he landed his first regular television job on The Merry Mailman, a children's program broadcast out of Atlanta. Though the show wasn't a major success, it gave him valuable on-camera experience. Soon, he found himself traveling back and forth between New York and LA, auditioning for television and Broadway roles. One of his most important early breakthroughs was in 1959 when he was cast in the Broadway musical Bye Bye Birdie. His role as Albert Peterson, a music manager, was a turning point. The show was a smash hit, running for over 600 performances and earning Van Dyke widespread recognition. His performance won him a Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. Soon after, he was cast in the role that defined his early career, Rob Petrie in The Dick Van Dyke Show. Airing from 1961 to 66, the show was a critical and commercial success, widely regarded as one of the best television comedies of its time. Created by Carl Reiner, the show was based loosely on Reiner's experiences as a television writer. Van Dyke's portrayal of Rob, a likable, clumsy, and quick-witted comedy writer, endeared him to audiences. His on-screen chemistry with co-star Mary Tyler Moore was electric, and the show's combination of smart writing and physical comedy made it a classic. The Dick Van Dyke Show brought Van Dyke 4 Primetime Emmy Awards and firmly established him as a household name. During this period, he also ventured into films, most notably with his role as Bert, the charming chimney sweep in Disney's Mary Poppins. His performance remains one of the most iconic of his career, showcasing his talents as a dancer and singer, even if his attempt at a Cockney accent became a subject of playful critique. By the mid-1960s, Dick Van Dyke had solidified himself as one of the most versatile and beloved entertainers in the industry. However, his path to success was far from easy. His early struggles, moving from job to job, trying to find his place in the entertainment world, helped build the resilience and work ethic that would sustain him for decades to come. From a small-town boy in Illinois to one of the most recognizable faces on American television, Van Dyke's journey reflects perseverance, talent, and an enduring love for making people laugh. His early life and career struggles laid the foundation for a career that would span 7 decades and counting, with his enduring charisma continuing to inspire new generations of performers and fans alike. Legacy.
It's such a blessing to find a way of making a living that you love, that you do for nothing. I feel so sorry for people who hate their jobs. I look forward to going to work every morning.
At 98 years old, Dick Van Dyke remains one of the most beloved figures in entertainment, still full of life and hope. Recently, he shared that he's praying to reach his 99th birthday, a milestone that he approaches with his signature optimism. Despite his age, Van Dyke continues to be well received by fans and peers alike. A key part of his later career accomplishments was his role in Diagnosis Murder, which aired from 1993 to 2001. He played Dr. Mark Sloan, a crime-solving physician, in this hit mystery series. The show was a critical and commercial success, introducing him to a new generation of television viewers. His natural ability to mix lighthearted charm with suspenseful storytelling made Diagnosis Murder a long-running favorite. His enduring legacy is also reflected in the many awards he has received. He's won 5 Primetime Emmy Awards, a Tony Award for Bye Bye Birdie in 1960, and a Grammy Award for his work in Mary Poppins in 1964. In 2013, he was honored with the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award, recognizing his outstanding contributions to the industry. His wide-ranging talents, from comedy to singing and dancing, have left a permanent mark on film, television, and theater. Even as he approaches his 99th birthday, Van Dyke's influence continues to resonate. His energy and positivity serve as an inspiration to both younger generations of performers and longtime fans who have followed his career from the beginning. His legacy, characterized by a commitment to joy and entertainment, has made him one of the most enduring figures in American culture, and his impact will be felt for years to come. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Dick Van Dyke's acting prowess and legacy is appreciated by aspiring actors today, or has he largely been forgotten among the newer generation? Let us know in the comments section below.